Once again, that time of the year. 2025 is in the book, and it's time to take a look back at all the incredible new gear I had the opportunity to check out and see what really resonated with me. I usually tend to do a top 5 video, but this year there were so many new cool pedals that I really struggled to narrow it down to only 5. So I'm kinda breaking my own rules and pick 1 or 2 more, because honestly, who's going to judge me? Now, before we dive in, here's how this video will go on. You just heard a song where I used all my favorites from the last year, and now we take a closer look at each of them and talk about what makes them so special. The first pedal on my list is the Empty Head Effects, the Lover. The Lover is a really cool low to mid gain overdrive, and Nick just builds pedals that are full of character and therefore really stand out to me. I totally get that it's not for everyone, but they're definitely for me. I love how this one feels more like a saturation device than a traditional overdrive pedal, because it doesn't drastically change your sound, it just takes your signal and adds some character to it. You can push it into some blown out territory if you hit it really hard and want that sound, but that's not really what we're going for here. Second on my list is the Lantern Manufacturing Verbena, the most characterful reverb pedal I ever got my hands on. And I don't just love how it sounds, I also love the fact that this is the first pedal of its kind to use a vintage chip that nobody has really worked with before, at least in guitar pedals. So this is not your typical belt and brick or DSP reverb, but rather some ancient tech that's used in really new ways. So standard verb, modulated, reverse, pitch shifted verb, this thing does it all. I love most of the things I've tried from Old Blood Noise endeavors, and it's kind of crazy that I've never played the original Dweller, even though it's a favorite for a lot of people. So I was really hyped when Bathing was announced as a follow-up, because a stereo Dweller with all the big box extras, that kind of sounded like a dream, but it absolutely lives up to the hype. There are so many unique delay and reverb textures in here that you can just twist knobs for hours and hours and always find something new to enjoy, and that's why I had to put it on the list. Our next spot goes to a pedal by my buddy Daniel from Lichtlärm Audio, and this was a really tough decision because I picked up more than one of his pedals this year. And while the As Above, So Below is a killer reverb for that cavernous ambience, I think we have some really strong alternatives for that kind of sound on this list. So instead, I am going with the Nostalgia. A fantastic modulation device, and what I really love about it is that you can take your chorus or vibrato sound and blend a really pristine hi-fi version of that with a lo-fi and characterful one. And that's something truly unique and a lot of fun to play around with. The last official spot on this video is taken by the Grimrobe from Julius over at Blue Colander Effects. And I played a ton of distortion and fuzz pedals over the last year, and this one really stood out to me because you can cover a wide range of sounds with it, from the standard red style overdrive and distortion settings all the way to completely over-the-top fuzz if you had that second foot switch over here. And it's one of those pedals that's just incredibly rewarding once you just play around and twist the knobs and hear how they interact with each other, and it's super fun to play, so I just had to include it in this list. And here's me putting a multi-effect into my top pedals of 2025 after years of hating on those. I've tried a few multi-effects in the past and the menu diving always just puts me off. So the Chase Bliss Audio Lost and Found was a really welcome change in that regard. It's something that can go incredibly deep if you want to with all these switches on the top, but it's also super easy to access if you just want to dial in a few great sounds. And I really love that it offers distinct character choices instead of just bland versions of generic effects. And this was probably the most fun I had with the pedal in the last year, just experimenting with all the different sounds and how they interact with each other. There's only one other pedal from 2025 that I want to talk about, and it's this. The electronic audio experiments and Obstructures collaboration called Bass Driver. This thing basically puts the sound of a train or amp at your pedal board, and it sounds absolutely amazing paired with the Hiwatt behind me. This is all I've ever wanted for my bass, and it also sounds great on guitar, and I can't wait for it to be re-released in these small enclosures to put it on every board I will ever build again. And that's it. Those were my favorite pedals of 2025. Was there anything on the list that surprised you or you feel like I missed? If so, let me know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you so much for your support over the last year. The second half of the year was kinda tough for me personally, so it meant a lot to have great conversations with all of you out there. I started a small Discord community and I really love how comfy and welcoming it feels compared to other social media platforms, so if you want to join us, there's an invite link below. Other than that, all that's really left to say is thank you. Thank you to everyone who makes this journey possible by watching my videos and leaving comments and telling their friends about this channel. I really hope 2026 will be a great year for all of you out there. Cheers.